Hey guys, today my son learned how to blow a bubble. Yes, thank you, Hubba Bubba. And I am one proud mommy. Not just of him, but of me, because I taught him how to do that. Arthur says to me, "That's a teachable moment, Angela. That's your next video." And I was like, "It is?" And he says to me, "Yes, blowing your way into alignment." I was like, "Say what?" But here it is. We're going to blow our way into alignment. Why? Because blowing bubbles is a fun experience. Even though it took my boy 20 minutes and he cried and he screamed, "I don't want to do this anymore. This is stupid. This sucks. I hate it. I'm going to throw away my gum." And I was like, "Whoa, hold up." And I said, "But look at how fun it is. Don't you want to have fun?" He said, "Yeah." I said, "Well, then you got to chillax." I popped a piece of gum in my mouth. I blew a bubble right away because it's second nature to me. But I had to go back into my memories now. And I had to follow and find words for each step. But there was one thing I noticed. I was having a good time and I was relaxed because it's blowing bubbles. Hey, this is fun. I had to remember what the gum felt like in my mouth. I had to remember what position my teeth were in. I had to remember, was my jaw tight? Was my jaw relaxed? What was happening with my body when I was chewing this gum and blowing bubbles? And so I gave him a step by step. Here's why I don't teach alignment in order to get something. You know, manifest your car in 30 days, manifest your house in 60 days. I don't live my life like that because it's kind of like cramming for an exam. Because once you've written the exam, you've forgotten everything and you have to start all over again. I think it is considerably easier to live a life of alignment. I did a podcast about that today. Alignment is not something I can explain. It is something that needs to be felt, just like how the gum feels in your mouth. Is your jaw tight? Are you blowing too hard? Are your teeth breaking the gum? Like, alignment is felt. You have to start by being relaxed. You know, like if you're at the pool and you're floating on the water, when you're floating, you have to be relaxed or else you sink. You can't be tense or anything like that. You've got to be relaxed. Relaxation is key. So for instance, if you're having a tough time with a situation where you've been at it for a while and you think, you know what, I'm spinning my wheels here. I'm in the same situation. I can't get out of it. The key is to relax and not take life so seriously. Angela, how dare you say not to take life so seriously? I'm being very serious when I say don't take life so seriously. We have forgotten that life is a pleasurable experience. We get caught up in the bubble at the end. Once you've done it, yay! The fun's in the learning how to blow the bubble. That's the fun. So the fun and the pleasure is in living the life, not the achieving of things. So if you live your life in alignment, you feel good every day. Angela, you are so unrealistic. You are living in that bubble that you're blowing. Am I? Am I really? You know what? If I'm living in that bubble, at least I'm happy living in it, right? But this is the thing. If you are relaxed and excited about life, what does that do? You see those colors behind me there in that picture? My son painted that picture. He loves colors. And everybody has a color, like an aura. I don't see them, I feel them. So how you're feeling dictates what color your aura is. The more vibrant the colors, the better you feel. Now the thing is, when those colors are nice and vibrant, you see, they can only attract other things that are vibrant towards themselves because like thoughts attract like things. We get caught up in other people's business, in other people's things, in how people feel about us. And because we've become so caught up in those things, we forget that life is pleasurable and meant to be lived and experienced. I'm not telling you I don't have bills. Oh, I got bills. I pay my landlady every month. Much to my chagrin, I pay. I pay my heating bill. I pay my phone bill. I pay my cable bill. Well, my Wi-Fi. I do those things because that's part of living here on this planet. Living in alignment means you feel good despite the external. I'll give you an example. At my job, he's a courier. He comes in. The very beginning, he would just throw his packages on the ground. And of course, I have to process these packages. And so I'm like, oh, that is so annoying. I'm like, the table is here. Why don't you just put them on the table? And he's like, that's not my job. And I did this. I said, all right then. And I said to Arthur, what are we gonna do? I said, because I'm about ready to just lose my cool here. Arthur said, you have to go outside of yourself for this situation. My supply is limited. I have to access the unlimited. I would, every time this driver would come in, I would just greet him with, hey, how are you today? And sometimes he would answer and sometimes he wouldn't. He'd throw his packages on the floor and he'd go. And Arthur said, it is not you. Keep channeling. Keep drawing from the unlimited. And I'm like, oh, this sucks. But nope, I kept doing it. Every day, how are you doing? Do you know what happens? He comes in, he puts his stuff on the table, and he says to me, hi, how are you? The first day he did that, if I was eating, I probably would have choked. And Arthur whispered to me, it's not you. All you did was channel universal life energy into the situation. That is what living in alignment will do for you. It is not you. You see, this is why we get caught up in the ego. Oh, I did that. No, sweetie, it's not you. Living in alignment means you are the magnifying glass. And all you're doing is allowing the universal life energy to shine through you. And there are some situations that are going to require you to stay there for a little bit longer because you're going to need to channel more into that situation. And that's what I did with that workmate. Are we friends? Are we best friends? I wouldn't say so. But he is polite and he respects me as a human being. And I respect him as a human being. At first it was hard because my ego was like, what do you mean it's not your job? You're gonna throw it on the floor and it's my job to pick it up, so I'm beneath you? That was my ego. Does it make a little bit of sense when I say that living a life of alignment is easier than just jumping in and out of alignment because you want something? That becomes exhausting. So it is easier to continually go with the flow. I think Bruce Lee said it best. Be like water. And that's what you become like when you channel universal life energy. Before I go into work, I assume that position I taught you guys. Left palm facing up, right palm facing down. I do that before I go into my job. And do you know how many people say to me, what are you doing? What is that? Are you praying? I'm like, no. They're like, what are you doing then? I said, I'm powering up my body so I can go to work. And they're like, I don't understand. I said, well, I have to go and do a physically demanding job. I need strength to do that. So I do this. And they're like, well, does it help with my back? And I was like, it sure does. So here I am now teaching these people how to do these things, or the tree pose, and so that they can strengthen their bodies. That's what I mean when I say it is much easier to live a life of alignment. Live the life of alignment. And all it is practice. It really is. What is the practice? The practice is feeling the universal life energy when you come into contact with it. Because it is all around you. Every other creature does it, except for humans. We've disconnected ourselves from it because we've put up the barrier called the ego. So when the ego is up, you can't feel anything at all. You are numb. You can't sense. The best way to sense is to be relaxed. Get into that position. Because the more you get into that position, the more aware you become of what universal life energy feels like. So that if you are in the grocery store, oh boy, let me tell you. If you are in the grocery store or if you're driving, this is where I employ it the most, when I'm driving, because, and I've actually noticed that those instances of me freaking out behind the wheel, jackass, you know, or leaning on my horn, those instances are considerably fewer and far between now, because I'm more aware of universal life energy. And so when I'm aware of it, I tap in. I'm like, oh, this is where I want to be, right here. And the sweet spot, you just, well, it's the sweet spot. When it just hits you just right and you're like, oh, I gotta rest in that. I gotta sit on that. Like, it's just, being in that state and recognizing when you're there is so amazing that it will cause other people to be drawn to you. Now, it will also reduce the amount of times you are in the presence of people who are irritating. Being in alignment is a very high frequency. It can only bring higher frequencies toward itself. Now, here's the thing. Should you encounter someone who is quite belligerent and rude, and you're like, but wait a minute, I'm on a high frequency, what's going on here? Here's where you get to have a teachable moment. You are on a higher frequency than the one you're currently presented with. So you have to keep the magnifying glass there, and you have to focus it there so that you can help that person, here's a word, transmute their lower vibration to a higher one. So practice relaxation so that you can become aware of how universal life energy feels on your body, feels in your body, feels in your mind. And I promise you, when you start feeling that way, there's nothing that you can't have, nowhere that you can't go, nothing you can't be. When you are in alignment, that is your natural state of existence. When things start to irritate you, that's your first clue that, oh, I am not in alignment. Pay attention, but you must be relaxed. Much love.